on this particular day in the year 2000, but now we know that no, I misinterpreted the number of legs on the horses of the apocalypse or something, and now my new prediction is for this date. And then eventually they'd go away. We had to drop the segment eventually because there just wasn't enough to report.
We're way past Y2K.
But we may need to resurrect that segment as 2012 approaches because
Y2K12.
Yeah, son of Y2K. I don't know.
All right. Well, that's all really that I wanted to say. But like I was saying, I think that a lot of the resurrection argument, they make all of these. They try and play it as, if Jesus hadn't been resurrected, then why would the disciples claim otherwise? And I think that there are examples throughout history of different religious groups when their prophecy has failed to be fulfilled. They'll just, like I said, they'll invent victory out of the jaws of defeat. I know there was a group in Japan where, he predicted, the cult leader predicted that an event would occur on a specific day, and then it didn't happen, and he committed seppuku, he cut his abdomen open, but he survived it, and then afterwards, retroactively said that the reason that the end of the world was averted is because he took the sins of the world onto himself, and that sort of thing.
Well, we should send him like a thank you card or something. There's a number of cases like this that touch on what you're talking about. I think, to kind of diverge back to what you're talking about with regard to the Jesus resurrection and why would, for example, the disciples say that it happened? I don't know that they did. I mean, that's one of the positions I'm in. I'm not in the case of calling eyewitnesses liars because I'm not aware that I have any eyewitness reports at all. I have second and third hand reports. It may have been the case that they were lying. It may have been the case that they were delusional. It may have been the case that they were mistaken. It may have been, one of those things where I heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody, and it could be. The reason I think that your prediction is likely to come true in part, and the reason I think we see some of this, some of the events like this, has to do with how much somebody has invested in something. Unlike the scientific method, where you have a great investment perhaps in your hypothesis, but you have a greater investment in the truth, so that when a particular experiment fails, your investment in discovery of the truth allows you to say, oh, this failed. Clearly I was mistaken, or I've done something wrong. I need to investigate and figure out what happened and rework things and keep going. But and I'm sure there are, I'm not saying that scientists are these pillars of propriety and are completely emotionally divested. No, I think they're very passionate about it, but they have a larger investment in truth by and large. In the cases of these 2012 predictions or any sort of prophecy like this, what you have is somebody getting emotionally invested and perhaps financially invested as well in something that is a core value that to them isn't superseded by anything. It's very rare that you're going to find somebody whose investment in truth is such that it's going to override it. And so, yeah, you're going to have people saying, oh, well, something happened, or nothing happened because we did X. And then there's going to be others, of course, that say, well, we got the date wrong, and this is still coming. And despite the fact that they've obviously been wrong once, they're going to keep going.
Yeah, they'll milk it as long as they can and eventually drop it and try to salvage what's left of their reputations.
Yeah, I got a word of knowledge from God, and he told me this wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, no, I 100% agree, and I think, when we look at the disciples, you have a group of people who abandoned their jobs, they abandoned their possessions, they abandoned their families and followed an itinerant preacher around the desert for, 3+ years or so, and they had everything invested in that. My basic point was, and I didn't mean it so much as criticism, but I think, even if we accept that the Gospels count as eyewitness accounts, I think that the resurrection argument can pretty much be beat on every levels, and so I feel kind of disappointed when people will just say, well, I'm going to well, it's miracle claims, so I'm not even going to take it seriously. And I'm going to hang up. That's all I got to say. Thank you for having me on. Love the show.
Thanks much.
Thanks very much for your call.